Joining me now, Rob Smith, former Army veteran, host of the podcast Rob Smith is Problematic and author of Always a Soldier. And also Jack Carr, former Navy SEAL and author of The Devil's Hand. Gentlemen, thanks both of you for being here. You've both served, you've led with men, you've been in combat. Rob, let me ask you, is this a systemically extreme problem we have in the military today?
No, it's not. And first of all, let's define what extremism really is, right? So in 2009, an Army major named Nadal Hassan went in Fort Hood, Texas, shot and killed 13 of his fellow soldiers and injured 30 more. Now, that is the deadliest terrorist attack that has ever happened on a U.S. base in history, right? So this is a person that was radicalized by radical Islamic terrorism. So that is the kind of extremism that we used to have to keep an eye out for and root out in the American military. Now, the kind of extremism that they are defining right now, Bishop Garrison and people like him, this is not extremism. This is what they're using to sort of purge political enemies. What they're defining as extremism, this sort of patriot extremism, white nationalism, whatever, this is nothing of the sort. These are pretty much milquetoast, center-right, Republican-leaning people who may have voted for President Trump, may have voted for other Republicans, and may have said as much on social media. So they are only using this right now to pretty much purge the military of any political enemies, and to them, a political enemy is anybody who is not a liberal or on the left.
Yes.
And to me, that is dangerous for free speech, and it's also dangerous for the soldiers that are serving because they're open to the real kind of extremism that I told you about earlier.
That's exactly right. Jack, were you familiar with much of this? I mean, we've heard about kind of the wokeism and the reading list and some of that, but I didn't know much about Bishop Garrison until we started looking into this, these working groups, how far it will go. Does it surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me today, but in over my 20 years in naval special warfare, if we were extreme about anything, or if I noticed any extremism, it was we're extremely focused on the mission, and we're extremely focused on the task at hand, because that's what we owed the country, that's what we owed the mission, the guys to our right and left. That's what we were extreme about, nothing else. Really, the job of the United States military is to prepare for war.
Yes.
So that when we get called to go to war, we are ready, and then we go and we execute the country's business. Everything else that detracts from that mission, there's something else at play there, that's for sure.
But I mean, where does this mindset come from, Rob, that, you know, if someone uses the wrong gender pronoun, they can't have your back in a firefight? You know, I mean, nobody's perfect. Everybody has different political views. The military's always been a melting pot, truly, of people of different backgrounds, rich, poor, black, white. Where does this sudden mindset come that these types of people, patriots or people that supported Trump, they got to go? They're dangerous.
Well, where it comes from is, first of all, like I said, they have a rush to define all of their political enemies right now as extremists. Like I said, defining Trump supporters, general conservatives, etc. But this also comes from the far left woke stuff, if you want to call it the critical race theory people, any of that stuff. The problem with a lot of this stuff is that it ascends to positions of power as of right now. What we are seeing with this Bishop Garrison person, now he is influencing policy in the United States military. So this is where all of this stuff comes from. I do some work, like I said, with Turning Point USA on college campuses. It all starts there, but it honestly ends up in the halls of Congress, as we've seen. It ends up in the Pentagon, and it ends up very, very, very close to power, which is what we're seeing right now. And stuff like this will destroy the military from the inside out if it is not, if a light is not shown upon it.
Jack, let's look forward a little bit. So let's say this working group comes out with recommendations, and they are at or near as extreme as the types of things he's talked about. In what way is a general today able to reject that? Or is the general class effectively going to have to say, hey, if I don't accept it whole cloth, then I'm the racist, so I better do it?
Well, that's exactly right. And what we see in the military is, as I'm sure you saw, is that when you hit a certain rank, these guys sometimes turn into politicians. And they're signing the deal for Raytheon or whatever else is, seeing their buddy who's on the board that got out of the military a couple of years before. So there is this military industrial, that's a real thing, that military industrial complex. So asking our senior level leaders, who are essentially just politicians in uniform, to stand up to this stuff, that's expecting too much from these people. And in the early 60s, the trust in the United States government enlistment was at an all-time high. It's steadily deteriorated since then, but what happened is the military, trust in the military, started from the end of Vietnam, and especially from 1980 on, the trust was there. And what we're seeing here is the erosion of trust in the United States military, just like we're seeing it with Supreme Court issues with the Supreme Court. But that is, I think, what the other side is trying to do, is to erode that trust in this trusted institution. And when we're talking about vetting people before they come in, it's not just what they like. Your interview with Laura Logan last night about the surveillance state, everybody should listen to that. It was amazing. But just what you hover above, they know exactly where your leanings lie without even having to
How
like
harrowing
anything.
is that? Your kid right now, interested in politics, makes a few comments here or there, wants to join the military, and they say, sorry, you look like an extremist to me, kid. Go to college. It's amazing. Rob Smith, Jack Carr, it really is dangerous times. Thankful for men like you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.